I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. How did KADA Scott aunt know so much about what happened before investigators released any of the information? Now, I have to say that the aunt is allegedly is her aunt. I'm not sure if it's her aunt or not, but we're going to just say the alleged aunt. We're going to go down this rabbit hole because the aunt mentioned some things about the case before the investigators released it. And I know, because the aunt called herself a seer. And almost every case that I've covered, there has always been psychics, seers that come forward and talk about the cases. Now, I don't believe in the psychics. I don't. That's why if any of you all have ever sent me any demonstrations from the psychics, I never watch it. But that don't mean that it ain't true. That don't mean that it ain't true just because I don't believe. So what I want to know is, how did the alleged aunt know certain things about the case? Right? Okay. That's her cousin, mom. So she say it's her niece. Okay. Thanks, Street T. Thanks. So she is family. She is family. But drop a 1 if y'all feel like me. Drop a 2 if you believe in the psychics. Leslie says, okay, I don't either. Street says, I didn't either, but now I do. Okay. So we're going to stay with Street Team. And I see Shelly. I see everybody, Sean, Jacqueline, Carl. I see everybody in the chat. Now, before we go any further, let's chop it up. Street T, do you care to share why now you believe it? Street T says 1 and 2 for me. Okay. Shelly says 50-50. I see you, positive vibes. Like I said, in all the cases that I covered, Shanquilla Robinson, Nazaria Harris, and many more, there were always people calling themselves psychics that always spoke on the case. But this aunt, she was dead on. Dead on. Gabby is the question. And we're going to get into Gabby. Gabby is allegedly the friend. Let's just tap into it because I don't want to bore y'all. I know some of y'all, especially on the replay game. Shank Rock, can you just get to the videos so we can react? All right. Y'all ain't got to tell me twice. Because she solved another case in Philly last year and was spot on. Okay, Street T. Okay. I'm glad that you are here to walk us through this. And if there's anybody else from Philly, that knows, her work, weigh in. All right. I see you see it. All right, let's tap into it, y'all. And this content is from Deadly Affairs. So shout out to Deadly Affairs. Make sure y'all go and subscribe to Deadly Affairs and show that platform some love. All right. All right, here we go, y'all.
Before Keon King was ever arrested, before KADA Scott's body was found, before anyone knew what really happened, her aunt made a prediction. Aunt Bree White, who describes herself as a seer, went on social media and told people what she believed happened to her niece. And one of the things she said was this:
Two other people are involved. It's a female. I know one female personally, but there's some jealousy things going on.
Most people didn't pay much attention to that detail at the time.
So before I go any further, according to Street T, she claims that she solved another Philly case. Now, she did mention, and this was before Keon became a suspect, she did mention there were, I believe, 2 males involved and they had dreadlocks. And I mean, that could just be a guess, because once again, a lot of young guys, they do got dreads. Street T says the 2 missing boys, Quaddy and Asa, when they was missed, she said check water, and sure enough, they was there. Wow. Positive Vibe says it's definitely more to this. So Street T says that this aunt is credible. Because when I first heard it, I said, either this aunt was in on it, or either this aunt knows about it, not through, the psychic world, but those that are responsible, perhaps they told the aunt. And see, this is not far-fetched, because some of y'all might say, nah, Shank, nah, that's our family. Family wouldn't do that. But shit, we see this all the time. Families be the main ones involved, right? I see you, Marty, Side TV, Mariah and Karai, Jacqueline. I see the chat. Goddess, I see the chat. But let me backtrack it for those that just pulled up. Let's backtrack it. Now, this is the aunt.
Aunt Bree White, who describes herself as a seer, went on social media and told people what she believed happened to her niece. And one of the things she said was this.
2 other people are involved. It's a female. I know one female personally, but there's some jealousy things going on.
Most people didn't pay much attention to that detail at the time. But after DNA confirmed that the body found in a shallow grave behind an abandoned school was indeed KADA Scott.
Yeah, Street T, if you could see if you could get her to pull up, I definitely would love that. And if she needs to speak with me offline, send it to my Instagram. My Instagram is Shankrock. I would love for her to pull up. I see you, King. Now we're gonna keep going down the rabbit hole with the aunt. We're going, but we're gonna go to Gabby, the friend. All right, let's go on down this rabbit hole, y'all.
Right now, we're outside the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's office, where they have been working to identify that body that was found yesterday. And tonight, our NBC 10 investigators have learned through their sources that body was KADA Scott.
It was just sad.
People living near East Germantown reacting after human remains were found behind Ada Lewis Middle School. On Sunday, 2 sources familiar with the investigation tell NBC 10 investigators that the remains have been identified as KADA Scott using DNA evidence.
I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know what to say. I'm just seriously in shock.
After new charges were announced against Keon King, including arson. After the internet started digging, information surfaced that brought that prediction back into focus.
Thanks to Purdue Global, I got my literal dream job.
Getting a degree backed by the power of Purdue. Hey,
October 18th, 2025. An anonymous caller told police, please go back, they missed her. They gave an exact location. Officers found KADA's body in a shallow grave behind Ada Lewis Middle School.
Who was the anonymous caller? Many of y'all believe that it was King. Who was the anonymous caller? Could it have, somebody, let me read what somebody left from the replay gang on my previous demonstration. And shout out to social media, because it's because of social media that a lot of these cases get the attention that it get. So shout out to all of the content creators and everybody that takes these deep dives on social media. Let me read some of these comments that I got from the last demonstration. So it says, Jamil, appreciate this, Jamila. Jamila says, the community found the shallow grave and tried to dig it up, but couldn't and didn't want to mess with evidence if it was something. The community was out there from Friday until they came back. Jamila Muhammad also says, Shank, I'm from Philly. The community was out searching for her. Everyone around here kept telling them to go search in the wooded area, but they didn't. They at first only going off of his phone records. The community was searching all day Friday, and her aunt told them to go in the woods, and the group had the courage because it's a very dark place and has not been groomed in years. They called the tip line because that's the only way the cops came to the spot. They didn't even come when called there. They came the afternoon time when call went in late at night. That's why the community was so mad, because they been telling them, wow. So it looks like the Philly police department, the authorities, like they do most cases, they really didn't take this case serious. Now, I can't say whether or not they would have or could have prevented KADA's death, but you just never know. You never know. But I thought they could trace those anonymous calls back to somewhere. They could have had a burner phone. You know, they could have had a phone that they got rid of. But that's a good point, King. Let me come back, y'all.
Go back, they missed her. They gave an exact location. Officers found KADA's body in a shallow grave behind Ada Lewis Middle School. DNA testing confirmed it was her. 99.9% match to her parents. But then a video started circulating online. A young woman named Gabby explaining her connection to this case. And suddenly, questions started being asked about who else might have known what was going to happen.
And I'm going to run it, y'all, but pay close attention to Gabby. And this is the friend. All right. Positive says when it's African-American women, they don't move with care or urgency. That's facts. Let's listen to Gabby, y'all. You can't make this ish up, but let's listen to Gabby.
Let me show you what Gabby said.
Hi, my name is Gabby, and I'm going to be discussing some of the misinformations that are going around in the internet regarding me and the KADA Scott situation. So if you are unaware, KADA Scott is a girl that went missing in Philadelphia on October 4th. So I did know Keon. He was my friend. I met him about 4 or 5 years ago, and he was also the local pharmacist. Now, me and my best friend, we were also mutual friends with Keon. He was our pharmacist. So one day Keon calls me, and keep in mind, I am in school, I am in Maryland, and he will usually just call me, you know, just to check up and talk. So he calls me and he asks me if I know KADA. And I'm like, yeah, like, I know KADA. And he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that she lives really close to you. I'm like, yeah, like, she lived right in the back of me. And I'm not thinking nothing of it because he usually calls me and, you know, we just be chatting.
I hate to cut it off, but watch the eyes. Watch the body language. Check the temperature. You know, it's like this supposed to be your people's, and your people has been red rum, and you're able to tell this story to us, and you're calm. I mean, it's, once again, maybe because of the generation gap. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this is just normal for folks. Women or men, for that matter. Look at the young man from Oxford. I don't think he's been found yet. The eyes mirror to the soul. She is her vibe to me, you know. Let me come back, y'all. I'm gonna try not to cut in, y'all. I'm gonna try not to cut in.
KADA, and he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that she lives really close to you. I'm like, yeah, like she lived right in the back of me. And I'm not thinking nothing of it because he usually calls me and, we just be chatting. He'll call me about like, the people that be around because he is the pharmacist. I live in the neighborhood and he be in my neighborhood. So we hang up the phone and that was that. We were only on the phone for 29 seconds. So you can see that this is the day that he called me and this was before KADA went missing. And we were only on the phone for 29 seconds. Also, I know that his name says Elliot in my phone. That's just what we call him. So a couple of days after that, my best friend calls me and, we're just talking about life. And I mentioned to her how Keon brought up KADA to me. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, oh yeah, like he was probably trying to flirt with her. He's probably trying to get at her. Mind you, me and my best friend, we know KADA because we grew up with her little sister. Now, we didn't know KADA personally because, again, we grew up with her little sister. We were around 12, 11 years old. KADA, she was much older than us.
Okay, so let me backtrack. This wasn't her friend. So this wasn't her friend. She just knew her because of her sister.
So we didn't really talk to her. So my best friend was like, oh yeah, like he probably thought she was cute. And that was that. So right here is the day that I called my best friend and told her that, Keon was trying to get at KADA. This is before she went missing. So a couple days, maybe a week after that, it is reported on October 4th that KADA is missing. So keep in mind, I am in Maryland, so I'm not really into all the Philadelphia news that be going on. So I'm not knowing that KADA is missing until my best friend sends me a text and says that KADA is missing. So this is the day that my best friend tells me that KADA is missing on October 9th. So I'm in my friend's dorm and I call Keon and it's a lot of music and a lot going on in the background. So I go somewhere that's quiet and I tell him, Keon, KADA is missing. Like that girl, she's missing. So he was like, what? And then after that, the phone just hung up. So here you can see that I called Keon and we were on the phone for 2 minutes. So you have to keep in mind, this was my friend. Okay, I did not think that he could be capable of anything like this. In my head, I'm just thinking, there's no way in the world he could have did something like this. There's no way in the world.
So Gabby is Keon's friend. Now, let me say something. I know I got to say this, y'all. You don't know what your friend is capable of doing. I got day ones, and I'm not 100% of what my day ones would do. Vice versa. They can tell you some things about Shank, but they're not 100 sure on what I'm capable of doing. I'm not buying this friend of Keon. She happens to be a friend of Keon. Now, I'm going to say allegedly, and I'm going to get straight to the meat and potatoes. Allegedly, she could be involved in this play. Go back to what the aunt said. The aunt did say that it was 2 guys and a female. This could be the female that the aunt spoke about. I'm just saying, y'all. Keep that in the back of y'all minds. All right, we'll come back to that.
And a couple of days after that, my mom sends me a screenshot of Keon turning himself in for the kidnapping of KADA. So this is my mom sending me the article, and she was distraught to say the least. And I know she said that he was a random person, but she says this about all of my friends. So me and my best friend, we get on the phone and we're talking about the situation. We're just saying how this is just crazy. This is the call of me and her talking about it. Now, this is all happening around the time that I'm taking my midterms. So I'm really just trying to keep my head on the books. And I wasn't really trying to let this stress me out. So I kind of just let it go. He turned himself in. It's not really much to say or do anymore.
I'm not buying this. And I'm not going to even blame it on the age gap, because there are younger people that in a situation like this, in an emergency like this, they're going to come forward and tell what it is that they know. This was a red flag for me. Okay, somebody help me out. KADA went missing, I believe, or was last seen October the 4th. Somebody help me out with the dates. Now, if she was missing October the 4th and Keon, you don't find out until October the 9th. That was 5 days that went by. This was a major story. This was a major story. I'm just not buying it, y'all. I'm not.
So a couple days after that, me and my best friend get on the phone and we're basically just, talking about the KADA situation. And she says that she thinks that I should call the cops. So she was basically saying that she thinks that I should call the cops and tell them that Keon was, asking about KADA. Now, at the time in my head, I'm thinking that there was no reason to call the cops. He already turned himself in, and I felt like it would be kind of a waste of time to tell them that the guy that they already have in custody, called me and was asking about the girl.
Well, you could have and you should have called the cops because they may have had some questions to ask you that could have helped piece the puzzle together. I ain't buying it. And like I said, I'm not even going to blame it on the age gap because I know a lot of young folks would have called the detectives, would have called homicide, would have showed up down homicide and said, I heard about this case and the suspect that y'all have. I may have some information that you all can use. Keyword, I may have some information that you can use. And I ain't buying, oh, I wanted to stick by the street code, no snitching. No. We ain't going for that. We ain't going for that because like I said, there are plenty of younger women who would have done the right thing and contacted homicide and told homicide, I may have some information that you may use. She's a part of this play, y'all. Or either she's using it for clout. Now, until she comes over here and clears it up, and she's welcome to come to my platform and clear it up. Allegedly, in my opinion, she's a part of this. She's a part of this, y'all.
And me personally, I'm not a cop caller. Like I don't call the cops. That's just the way that I grew up. That's what I was around. They will always tell me, you don't call the cops. So
I come from the streets. I live by that code, and I still do live by that code if I'm doing criminal activity. But in a case like this, I'm calling the cops. I tell y'all all the time. In a situation like this, I'm calling the cops unless I got something to do with that crime. See, that's what we say in the streets. Even those that hate the cops, it's some situations where you're going to have to call 911. I can do a demonstration on gangsters. I can do a demonstration on dope boys that had to call the cops, that had to talk to law enforcement. The only time you don't call the cops, the only time you stay away from law enforcement is when you know about it, you involved, or you don't want to get those that is involved, you don't want to get them locked up. That's the only time. We're talking about a young lady that went missing, right? Now, according to you, you don't know. Now, according to you, that young lady, KADA, is the sister of one of your friends. So why wouldn't you want to make things right? I ain't buying it, y'all. I'm going to come to the chat. Give me a minute. I'm going to come to the chat.
I just felt like, the information that I had and the fact that, I'm just not really a cop caller, it wouldn't make sense for me to call the cops. So then my best friend tells me, well, if you won't call the cops and tell them, then I will. And then she basically tells me that she doesn't want to be friends with me anymore because I won't call the cops.
Stop right there. Stop right there. See, you can't make this shit up. Now, your best friend is out the same mob that you out, grew up in the same atmosphere, but your best friend knew this is a situation where you gotta call the cops. This is a situation where you gotta get the cops involved. Y'all got the same backgrounds. So why did she feel the need for you to call the cops and get the cops involved, but you felt as though, nah, I hate the cops. Nah, where I'm from, you don't call the cops. Please explain that to me. Your best friend stopped being your friend. Your words, because your best friend knows something ain't right with you.
And I told her, that's completely fine. I just don't want any involvement. So then we hung up the phone, and then I believe she called me again with the police on the other line. So you can see, I told her, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the cops. And yeah. Now I can't see how this could be cruel. And
look what the friends say, y'all. Look what the friends say. Huh? See, you can't make this shit up. Let's look what the friends say to her.
we hung up the phone, and then I believe she called me again with the police on the other line. So you can see.
Now, what do she say to the friend? That's her in blue. I'm not talking to the cops. Now, what does the friend say in black? Bro, a girl is missing and dead. What the F do you mean? We grew up with her sister. What more do you want? Come on now. And I'm so tired. I'm so tired of people around these victims won't stand up and do the right thing. Let me come to my chat, y'all, because I know my chat got something to say. Shelly says facts. Jacqueline says current, exactly. She didn't want to know. She was removing herself after she realized KADA was red rum. That's what I was thinking, Shank. You is right about the code of the street. I'm hanging there. Thanks for asking. And you. I hope everybody in the chat is doing well. I'm coming, y'all. The same, but I hope all is well and happy holidays. Darlene says, to me, why you get on social media and involve yourself? I feel when someone do that, they know something, but it made sense to get on social media and not go to the cops. Girl, bye. Darlene, thank you, Darlene. You couldn't have said it no better than Darlene, and I'm going to read it again. To me, why you get on social media and involve yourself? I feel when someone do that, they know something, but it made sense to get on social media and not go to the cops. That's facts. So you bring the information to social media, but you don't take it to the cops. Either way, how you look at it, you snitching if you quote unquote live by that code. You came on social media and involved yourself. Knock it off, Gabby. Appreciate this super chat, Tanya. Working off in the bushes. Great demonstration. Shank Rock, let's go. Salute to all. I appreciate you, Tanya J, for that super chat. Knock it off, Gabby. When did the best friends find out about KADA Scott's unaliving? Those messages were early. The city found out weeks later. Knock it off, Gabby. I ain't buying it, Gabby.
I told her, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the cops. And yeah. Now, I can't see how this could be cruel, and I do take accountability for that. So then, a couple of days later after that, I get sent a link on Instagram. And the link was basically my best friend going live, just talking about the situation, saying how I was weird for not going to the cops. And people in the comments were just coming up with their own narratives about the story. And it just got way out of hand, and it just spiraled. So you can see somebody sent me the link of the live, and still to this day, I have not watched the full entire live. Then people just started asking, who is Gabby? What's the connection? And, she told people that I was in Maryland for school, and it was just a whole entire thing. So, of course, I was angry and I was confused because what is going on? So I text her.
What do you mean what is going on? My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all.
What is going on? So I text her. I tell her that, that was weird. And yeah. Then I started seeing posts of people saying
Now
that
I'm
they
gonna
think that
backtrack because we're gonna read this message, y'all. Let me backtrack.
story, and it just got way out of hand and it just spiraled. So you can see somebody sent me the link of the live, and still to this day, I have not watched the full entire live. Then people just started asking, who is Gabby? What's the connection? And, she told people that I was in Maryland for school, and it was just a whole entire thing. So, of course, I was angry and I was confused because what is going on? So I text her, I tell her,
Is real life giving you want clout off the situation or some? Then you keep saying my name, dog. This is mad weird. This is weird. Hey, you know what, bro? You slimed out for that. 100 people on that live, bro. And see, not all, because a lot of y'all appreciate it when I call a spade a spade. But for those that wonder why I call some females funky ass hoes, this is why I call some females funky ass hoes. And I really don't care who get mad. This is a funky ass hoe right here. We're talking about a life. We're talking about a life. We're talking about a young lady whose life was taken from her. And as I said on the last demonstration, unless you can prove that her death was a self-defense case, KADA Scott did not deserve to die. She did not deserve to lose her life the way she lost her life. Now, if somebody can show me some receipts where it was self-defense, yeah. But I'm so tired of these funky ass hoes that don't value other women, other female lives. And this women is hoes like that. It's the jealous ass hoes and funky ass hoes that make it bad for successful females like KADA Scott.
that that was weird, and yeah. Then I started seeing posts of people saying that they think that I set KADA up, and that why wouldn't I go to the cops, and that I was just suspicious and all of this stuff, and this was never the case. So
of course they gonna feel like you set her up, because my man, I ain't even gonna say my man, but Keon is your friend. You said it. Keon is your friend. Let me come to the chat, y'all. Let me come to the chat. When did they best friends find out about KADA Scott on the live? And those messages were early. The city found out weeks later. I think I already read that. This girl is clout chasing. Gabby, now sooner or later, it's bound to come out. You know that's right. I don't believe her when she said she didn't look at the live facts. You looked at half of it, or you looked at part of it, but you ain't look at all of it. You can't make this ish up. But doesn't her phone show that she called him, not the other way around? Facts, Jacqueline. That's facts. And they are, because they for sure backdoored that girl. Maybe inadvertently, but they led that boy to her. That's facts. That's facts. She is making us black women look bad, not helping our sisters. Facts. That's facts.
I do end up contacting the authorities after I seen people just making up crazy stuff about me and the situation. They cut me off. They tell me that they already know what's going on, that they have a close eye on the social media. And they also tell me that my friend did come forth with the information, and they told her that there was nothing that they can do, that the information that she bought them was useless information because they already had Keon in custody, and it was just nothing for them to do with this information. They told me to contact them only if I had anything that could lead to finding KADA, because that is their main priority. Now, I do believe that the person in the live was just kind of taking what I told her and running with it and just spicing it up to make it seem like something that it wasn't, for, I don't know, maybe views. People were saying that, she was walking around and showing what stores KADA would go to, where she would walk her dog, and just stuff like that. I also had one of our mutual friends come to me, and he told me that she told him that we knew KADA our whole lives and like we grew up with her, which wasn't the case because we grew up with her little sister. My prayers go out to KADA and her family, and I hope that she can make a safe return home.
So that's Gabby's public explanation. She knew Keon for 4 to 5 years as her pharmacist. He called her before October 4th, asking about KADA, 29 seconds. She didn't think anything of it. When KADA went missing, Gabby called Keon to tell him. 2 minutes, the phone hung up. Her best friend told her to call police. Gabby refused, saying she's not a cop caller. The friendship ended. The best friend went live telling this story. The internet accused Gabby of being involved. Gabby says she eventually contacted authorities, and they told her the information was useless. But there's something else. Text messages between Gabby and that best friend surfaced. And what's in those messages raises a major question. Let me show you. Look at what the friend is saying to Gabby. Bro, a girl is missing and dead. Not missing. Not might be dead. The friend is stating as fact that KADA is dead. Now here's the problem. When was this conversation happening? Because if you look at the timeline, this exchange happened before the official announcement that a body had been found. So the question is, how did Gabby's friend know KADA was dead? How did both of them know before everyone else? Before the public announcement? Before police officially confirmed they found remains? Someone in the comments asked the exact right question. How did Gabby's friend know that KADA was missing and dead when she texted Gabby about the cops having Gabby's number? If we all just informed yesterday that was a female body, think about what this means. The friend is texting Gabby talking about KADA being dead like it's already established, not suspected, not feared. Dead before the rest of us knew. So either Gabby told her friend information she shouldn't have had, or someone else told both of them, or they both had inside knowledge from somewhere. And this makes the friend's behavior even more interesting. She knew KADA was dead. She was pushing Gabby hard to talk to cops. What did the friend know? How did she know, and why was she so determined to get Gabby to talk to the police? Now here's where Aunt Bree comes back into this. Because she saw Gabby's video, and she had some things to say about what really happened. Let me show you.
Gabby is best friends with Keon. Keon is the perp. Gabby is best friends with him. So everybody's like, Breezy, you was right. It was a light-skinned girl vibe, because what happened was when I see my vision, it's 2 girls. They have on blue t-shirts. And one is light-skinned, high yellow, with 2 braids in her head. And she looks at me, and it's a little girl. She's not a light as her, but she was in the light. She's like my complexion. So she turns her head. So I'm like, they was demonic though. So I'm like, why is they looking at me like this? But it's a vision, like right here. So I've been saying this a long time as well. And then next thing you know, Gabby comes up. Now, Gabby is the girl that they went down Southwest Philadelphia to the house because of KADA phone pinged in the park. Once it pinged in the park, it pinged to Southwest Philadelphia. So the house that they pinged it to was where Gabriella was at. So Gabriella said she didn't know KADA. Then she lied and said she did know KADA because she was getting pressured. So next thing you know, the phone was pinged back. Oh, fuck, another download just came. She was pinged back. Thank you, Spirit. I love you, Spirit. I swear I love my tribe and my ancestors for what they do. All right, so that was a moment. So whatever the case is, she was pinged back to the phone in the area of Ada Lewis School. It was pinged back to Ada Lewis School based upon that's where they originally was at when she showed me that she was there. So when that call said help, she was letting me know I was close. She was letting me know, like, you here, Breezy, Aunt Breezy, whatever the fuck you want to say. All right, baby, I'm sorry. She was like, it was like she was here. So next thing you know, after that happened, everybody was like, we need to go to the, search certain places. So as I'm watching the news, I'm like, wait, white van. I'm like, oh, that go the white truck I was talking about. His car, the gray car was sitting across the street, and they go the white truck. Somebody found his Instagram, same car before it got crashed up. So we know it's him. Moving along, not to bounce all over the place. So Gabby is best friends with him. Now, it was a little girl on TikTok that everybody worked to my attention when she was talking about him and how she knew him. Now, her best friend is the girl who gave me the info. And she lied to me because she didn't know. She told me she didn't know him before. But apparently the girl was on there talking about KADA, how she walks her dog and, things like that. And they, all the above. So that's stalker. That's a stalker. I said, she was jealous. I said she was having fucking Keon. I said, and she knew what Keon was about to do to KADA because Keon asked her, because Keon asked her, where do KADA live at? Where does she work at? And all the above. Now, he knew KADA already. It's not a mystery he didn't know KADA. He definitely knows KADA. I want y'all to understand, it was never that he was a stranger to KADA. He knew KADA. He knew who KADA was as a person. KADA knew him as a person. But it was not supposed to go to this level because KADA was not in a relationship with him. She was in a relationship with somebody else. Please, you was not getting up here. She was in a relationship with somebody else. So with that being said, as she was in a relationship with somebody else, let me get the downloads because I don't want to be all over the place. And my downloads, that's what they do. All right, so earlier we was talking about it. The girl that gave me the jewels, she told her best friend that was talking about KADA on live, she needs to call the police and tell the police what she knows. The girl was like, I'm not telling anybody anything. So apparently the girl said that Keon told Gabby that what he did with KADA, and don't tell nobody where KADA was. Me asking about where KADA at and where she live at and where she work at, because Kim didn't play that nobody knowing where she lived at. So that's how I know for a fact he didn't know where she lived at. So the girl told, and Gabby promised not to say nothing about what he did to KADA. So Gabby goes to school in Maryland. So the girl was talking about that. Y'all had to go see her live on TikTok. Some people saved it. I don't know. Hey, hold on.
Wow. I know. I'm going to get back. Wow.
So Aunt Bree is making serious accusations. She's saying Gabby wasn't just a casual friend of Keon's. She's claiming Gabby and Keon were romantically involved, that Gabby was jealous of KADA, that Gabby gave Keon information about where KADA lived and worked, knowing what he planned to do, that Keon told Gabby what he did to KADA and where she was, and Gabby promised to stay silent. Aunt Bree also claims KADA's phone pinged at Gabby's house in Southwest Philadelphia before pinging back to Ada Lewis School. And remember, Aunt Bree said there was a jealous female involved before any of this came out. Some of her predictions were accurate. The abandoned building, the location between work and the park, the guy with the dreadlocks, and some other things she said. Now let's be clear about what we know versus what's being claimed. Confirmed facts. KADA Scott is deceased. DNA confirmed. Keon King in custody. $2.5 million bail. Additional charges coming, including arson. Gabby admits Keon called her about KADA before October 4th. Gabby admits she didn't come forward for 2 weeks while people searched. Text messages show Gabby's friend stating KADA was dead before the official announcement. An anonymous tip led police to KADA's exact location. Not confirmed yet by authorities. Whether Gabby was romantically involved with Keon, whether Gabby gave information knowing what would happen, whether Keon told Gabby what he did, whether KADA's phone pinged at Gabby's location, whether there's any accomplice at all. But the questions that won't go away: how did Gabby's friend know KADA was dead before the public announcement? Who told her? Did Gabby tell her? If so, how did Gabby know? Why did Gabby stay silent for 2 whole weeks while hundreds of people searched? Even if you're not a cop caller, when you know the suspect was asking about the victim beforehand, and someone tells you information about her being dead, doesn't that matter? Why did the friend push so hard for Gabby to talk to police, then go live publicly when she refused? What did the friend know that made her feel it was that important? When Gabby told Keon that KADA was missing on October 9th, why did the phone just hang up? What was said in those 2 minutes? Who made that anonymous call giving police the exact location of KADA's body? How did they know? Please go back. They missed her. That's a very specific language from someone who knew. And why is Keon being charged with arson? What did he burn? Where? Why? Authorities haven't charged anyone else. They haven't confirmed an accomplice, but they're still asking for tips. And in the days that followed, people started showing up at Ada Lewis Middle School to pay their last respects and to remember KADA Scott. So many flowers in front of that abandoned school. Even people who never met her but felt her loss have been coming in to show their respect and leave her flowers. The community came together, not in anger but in love, to honor a young woman whose life was stolen too soon. Philadelphia City Council member Cindy Bass sent a letter to the school district superintendent asking them to demolish that building because it had become a place of tragedy, a place where someone hid a beautiful soul, and the community wants it gone. But before it comes down, it's become something else. A memorial, a place where people can bring their grief, their flowers, their prayers. A place to say KADA Scott's name and remember who she was. 23 years old, Penn State graduate, business owner, healthcare worker, fashion designer, pageant competitor, daughter, niece, cousin, friend, a go-getter with a whole future that should have happened. Her family now has to live with answers they never wanted, but they also have something else. A community that showed up, that searched, that cared, that won't forget. The investigation continues.
Wow. Let me go to a commercial from one of my paid sponsors, and then we will wrap up this demonstration, y'all. Wow. Sad.
I am Tammy Ross from LA. Practically lived in Ghana for 5 years now. I've met great people and talented skaters. My passion for skating led to creating the Africa on Wheels Skate and Culture Tour to encourage people to do what they love in the motherland too. I've met very creative skaters, but noticed there are not many safe places to skate, although
the
they make it
2026
happen
Skate
indeed.
Empowerment Tour to Ghana itinerary includes 7 days in 2 regions, traditional welcome ceremony, meet and greet mingle, Ghana Skate live presentation, 4 historical and cultural attractions, community skate workshop, massages by waterfalls, the Cape Coast Annual Festival, doing business in Ghana conference. You will skate at various safe locations and participate in the Cape Coast Annual Festival to include indoor skate rink in Accra,
the main city. All travelers will be featured on the Mama podcast and exposed to
Also
sponsors.
meet
And collaborate with local and skaters from everywhere. You can compete.
If you are interested in going on a skating trip to Ghana, please DM Tour Africa _net on Instagram. Let me take some comments from my chat, and then we're going to get up out of here. Stop calling them friends, because true, real friends will not do the things or react the way she did at all. Lopez is the high yellow Spanish girl. The aunt was channeling a lot of accurate details, believe it or not. She's rough. Right. LOL, the pats in her tone. I believe she was tricked in coming outside. Gabby was mad because he called her asking about KADA. She knew, and something to do with it. She really knew what happened. But what was the purpose? Like, people are saying that Gabby's part was because she was jealous. Like, what was the part? Was it a ritual? Excuse me, y'all. Was it a ritual? Was KADA accused of doing something? Did she mess up somebody's money? Like, what was the reason behind all of this? Was it just jealous? Was it because KADA didn't want Keon? A normal person would have been liked, you know what, you was just asking about her, now she's missing. Or like, dang, I said where she lives. Gabby was mad because he called her asking about KADA. She knew what happened. Why she tell the world KADA occasionally does something strange for change? She could have kept that to herself. That's facts, Ms. Jackson. That's facts. They say she helped police solve crimes before the aunt. Keon was using text app numbers they were stalking KADA. It's just so very sad that this young lady who's accomplished so much at her age had to lose her life in this manner. Ugly green red monsters. And this is a lesson. Let this be a lesson. And they questioned those two Transformer girls that lived with her. Let this be a lesson to everyone, because this even happens for the men. But let this be a lesson. If you are successful, if you got your head on, and if you are accomplishing your goals, and if you have a bright future ahead of you, choose your associates wisely. Choose your boyfriends, your husbands, choose your girlfriends, choose any and everybody that's in your circle that you socialize with. Choose them wisely. Your weed man, whoever it is that you're getting your smoke from. You have to move with caution, because as you can see, there are jealous and envy people out here. They are. And you cannot help everybody. You cannot. And in most cases, it's just best to leave people where they're at. Because 9 times out of 10, that person that you're trying to help, that's the person that's going to cause you to lose your life. That's the person that's going to set you up. Stay away from these people. Stay away from these people that ain't got nothing going on for themselves. I'm just keeping it real. Especially stay away from these dudes that's in the streets. Somebody sent me I see you, Mel. I see you down there, Mel. Somebody sent me a video about a female saying that guys that work 9 to 5s is guys that can't survive the streets. Did y'all hear what I said? And she had a nerve to post this. She said that guys that work 9 to 5s are guys that can't handle the streets. See, the mind frame. When I hear certain things like that, I'll be like, you can't make this shit up. No, those guys that got the 9 to 5s, those guys are smarter than the street dudes. It's more harder to be on the right side of the track than it is to be a street dude. Street dudes are suckers. Street dudes don't have a future. So for the females that want to keep glorifying these street dudes, continue. I believe Gabby and Keon had some kind of dealings somewhere down the line. I'm going to take a few more, then we're going to get out of here. Just go to the dispensary. KADA rejected him. In your lifetime, you will come to see you have more acquaintance than friends. That's facts, darling. Unless he was obsessed with KADA. If Keon called Gabby and asked where KADA lived, why is it that he picked her up from work? All facts. All facts. Right. Can't or do want to. So now we have the aunt. The aunt knew these informations. The aunt spoke on information to the case before the investigators released it. I believe she spoke on it before the investigators even knew. But thanks to a few of y'all in the chat, y'all said that the aunt already helped with a previous case. So the aunt, when she says that she is a seer, when she says that she is a psychic, the aunt work speaks for itself. Now, just because I don't believe in the psychics, that don't mean that they not real. So for right now, I'm going to take the aunt's information as credibility of her knowing what she's talking about as far as her being a seer. Now, Gabby, on the other hand, I ain't trusting Gabby. I'm not trusting Gabby at all. Gabby knows more than what she's telling us. So I'm sure that when this play out, I'm sure that Gabby will be in handcuffs. Hey, it is what it is. Anytime you won't go to the cops about KADA missing and then being found unalive, but you'll come to social media. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. You was better off by not coming to social media. My younger days, I used to mess with street dudes. When I got older and had my kids, you had to have a 9 to 5. That's facts. That's facts. No. She knew that the family was calling them, girls asking where she was before that information is released. So hopefully by tomorrow, make sure everybody pull back up on me tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, I'll have the aunt. I would love to have Gabby on the panel, and also the alleged boyfriend of KADA. I'm waiting for him to respond back to see if he want to pull up. So hopefully we'll have any one of those three that will join us over here on the Rock Squad. Sometimes you have to decide to love some friends from a distance, especially if you have a feeling that they aren't really feeling you as a real friend. And that's facts, y'all. That's facts. And it's a cold world. And people will use you. Your own friends will use you and abuse you. Think that they getting over on you. You doing things from the heart. Like I use me for an example. I do things from the heart. If you my friend, anything that I do it from the heart. So you ain't got to try to out-slick me. I've been around enough slicksters. You know what I mean? You ain't got to try to out-slick me. Just keep it real with me. You know, I'm going to look out for you just off GP. But it kills me how the ones that we should be learning from, the ones that can help us get a bag, the ones that can help us better our situations, we rob them and we kill them. That's some sucker shit. That's some sucker shit. If you gotta set somebody up, rob them, and kill them, that ain't street. That's corny. That's lame. The streets was there for us to do our thing, get our money, and then eventually, in due time, get out of the streets and go legit. The streets, it's not about how many people you kill. It's not about how many people you kill. That's not what make you street. What make you street is doing your thing, getting your money, hurting as less people as you can, and then get up out of the streets. 9 out of 10 people that got bodies is in prison right now. 9 out of 10. But y'all keep on playing with the streets. Y'all keep on playing with the devil. Be my guest. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I will leave the chat running and y'all can hang around. Remember, everybody, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. All right. And I'm hoping that I will have Gabby, the aunt, or either the alleged boyfriend. All right. Salute everybody, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, 12 p.m.